Tell us a little bit about the grain deal and it going away and what that could potentially mean for the rest of the world because it's a big deal. There's a lot of food that comes out of Ukraine and Russia, more than most people would expect.
Well, the first thing that we have to understand is that it was a grain deal, meaning that it wasn't a one-way street for Ukraine to ship grain. That Russia, in order for Russia to allow this grain to come out of the Black Sea, Russia needed to be permitted to ship its own grain out of Crimea, but also fertilizer. Russia ships a lot of fertilizer, and that's an important part of the world's food supply because if you're not fertilizing the crops don't grow. And and so Russia is one of the largest providers of ammonium nitrates of the fertilizers. Um, Neither Ukraine nor the West have lived up to their end of the deal. They've embargoed Russian ships containing fertilizers in the European ports. They've interfered with Russia's ability to participate by blocking Russia from the SWIFT banking system, which allows banks to communicate. And if you can't have banks communicate, money can't be moved. If money can't be moved, ships can't be done. They've attacked the ability of Russia to ensure their shipping. They've done everything, Ukraine and the West, everything necessary to ensure that Russia cannot participate. And Russia just got fed up with it. They basically said, if we can't participate, then this deal is done. Plus, Russia had to turn a blind eye to the fact that Ukraine was more than likely using the green corridor and the ships involved in moving the grain as a covert means of resupplying Ukraine with weaponry. That the empty ships going in were containing weapons. Russia believes that the explosives used to drop the bridge first time came out of Odessa on one of these ships. So Russia's always had a very skeptical look at this, and I think Russia just finally said enough is enough. We're done with this. Now, what is the impact of this going to be? First and foremost, there's a lot of propaganda going around. I mean, right now, the president of Ukraine is saying that Russia is trying to put billions of people lives at risk by denying them access to the food. But that's not how this works. The Ukrainian grain is not going to people who need food. The majority of the Ukrainian grain is actually going to Europe, to European markets. Now, does that mean that there's no relationship between that grain and the people who need it? No, there's a direct relationship. The World Food Program, the people that provide the foodstuffs to the people in need, they produce specific consumables that are delivered. But these consumables are produced separately. What's key to them is the price. If I'm running a humanitarian program, I'm not allocated food from a warehouse. I'm allocated money to buy the food. So now, if you deny this shipment, look what happened to world commodity prices. When the grain deal went down, commodity prices shot up. When commodity prices shoot up, the price of food goes up. And when the price of food goes up, the budgets which were allocated to these humanitarian groups, they don't go up. So suddenly their budgets are able to buy less food. It's not that there's no food. It's that they can't buy as much food as they needed. And this is the system. Now, what Russia's been saying is they want to shortcut that because rather than have all these middlemen, because there's a lot of politics in play. To give you an example, the United States is a heavy contributor to this thing. But when Congress wrote the laws allowing the United States to participate in this, they wrote the laws so that whatever we do must be beneficial to the American farmer. That it's not about feeding the world; it's about making money for the American farmer. And that's how much of this goes. It's not as humanitarian and pure of heart as people might think. What Russia's been saying is, we'll just deliver the food straight to the people that need it. We're going to cut out the middleman. If Ukraine can't do it, we'll do it. We grow enough food, we can send this food in and do this. Another key element here is Turkey. Turkey is the middleman here. It not only does the grain go through the Dardanelles and the Bosphorus, but most of the grain that comes out of Ukraine is raw grain. In Turkey, they've established a giant industry that mills it into flour and then bags it. And it's this product that then is sent on. And so Turkey's going to lose a lot of money when this grain deal is shut down because all those mills that they had, and this is the wrong time for Turkey to lose an important element of its economy because it's the lira is in free fall. The Turkish economy is in a strain. One of the reasons why Turkey backtracked on letting Sweden into NATO, because you remember Turkey was saying no, 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 and all of a sudden they went okay, was that the United States put pressure on the International Monetary Fund to free up 11 to 13 billion dollars that would be infused into the Turkish economy. So Turkey received the initial tranche of this money and they're investing it, but now they've suffered an economic hit that's even greater than the money received because of the grain deal. So there's a lot of politics at play in this grain deal. It's not only about starving people in Africa. It's about the control of the global food supply. It's about food prices. Look, England doesn't receive any of the grain from Ukraine. But the last time there was a crisis, the price of fish and chips went through the roof. And the price of food in the British markets went through the roof. And the British suddenly couldn't afford to eat. That's what's going to happen here. There's going to be, because this is a commodity, the commodity is exchanged. Exchanges are based upon confidence and stability. This is instability, dropping confidence. You're going to see food prices go up. And it's the high price of food that's going to cause the global food crisis, not the lack of food. It's not that there isn't any food available. There is food available. It's just that the people whose job is to provide the food to the starving people don't have enough money.
Well, it's amazing how we're all, connected, even though the world is so big. It's also so amazing to me that, just how much of our problems revolve around money,
Yeah.
and fighting over money and territory.